Let's check this microphone before I start right quick. Microphone check 2 2 1 2 1 2.
Welcome back, baby. Episode 10 of the Go With The Flow podcast, man. I'm your co-host, Chris Nixon, here with my friend and brother, Brandon Berg. What's up?
Yes, sir. We back in it. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Y'all already know the vibes. We got to get you with the W, the L, the slander, and then we finally have some questions to answer. So shout out to y'all. I put it on my story, and we got some joke answers. We got some serious answers, so appreciate it. If you put a question up here, listen, let's see if we picked it. But yeah, let's start off with some W's. Gotta start off positive. So I low-key have two W's because one of them is it's from 2 weeks ago now. But
Okay.
I think it was I checked last night. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey announced that they're together. So that's a W. That's a W for both of them.
That's a W. That's facts.
We gotta promote Black love on here. You know the vibes. Black excellence, all that. So
Black excellence for real at its finest.
I'm gonna hand them the W for that one. Congratulations to both of them. But my
I
other
respect that.
W of the week, I gotta give it to my guy, Tommy Innit, YouTuber, Twitch streamer, because he pulled 600 something thousand viewers, concurrent viewers on Wednesday. I think it was the sixth most concurrent viewers on a single Twitch stream ever by a 16-year-old British kid. And most of these records are being set by company or organizations that are doing a stream to announce something or whatever it is. And then the sixth one is Tommy Innit, and that was more than Drake pulled or the Ninja pulled when he was playing with Drake on Fortnite in the prime of Fortnite. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
It's crazy. And dude was doing part of his a whole Minecraft series going on where he's playing with a bunch of big Minecraft people, streamers and stuff. So that was it's definitely a massive W over him. 600, that was 600, 650, something like that. 650, I think. So yeah, that was crazy. So,
yeah, when you first mentioned that, I was thinking about the Ninja and Drake stream. I was like, oh, that has to be number one, right? But
no, yeah, it was ahead. I think it was Ninja, Drake, Travis
Scott,
Juju or something. Weren't they all in the same game? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And that was 616,000. I think I looked it up the other day, and then this one was 650,000 of him doing a Minecraft role play story thing, and yeah, so
that's pretty insane. Okay, first of all, why do y'all give Chris all the serious questions on the question of the day thing? Why can't I get some of the serious questions? Okay,
that's because you got it from Eli and Justin. Eli asked me the same one though. He said the same thing I told Brandon. He literally.
That man is. My friends are some clowns. Okay, so I'm gonna need all of y'all to actually put in some real questions on when I post it. I'm posting it this week. Okay, so y'all better actually tee up. Okay, I don't need any of those clown questions. No, I'm just kidding.
You're getting more clown questions after you said that, man.
That's true. You're right. I did it to myself. You're right. But for my W of the week, I gotta. Okay, I slandered this guy last week, but I gotta give him the W this week. It's Kyrie, because and I said this a little bit last week, but usually I'm very much in favor of Kyrie because I think he's a really good dude. He just does stuff a little bit differently and people get on him for that. But this week it came out that he actually bought George Floyd's family a house, and that's the Kyrie that I love to see, because Kyrie is really all about giving back to the community, and he doesn't need to say it or anything. He just does it. And
yeah,
I'd love to see that.
It wasn't him that leaked it. It was someone completely different that leaked it too.
It was Steven Jackson. Yeah, he said it on
exactly.
Yeah, so love to see that. Shout out to Kyrie.
I agree with you. I think he does sometimes get a lot of hate, and that's why Stephen A was talking about he needs to retire or whatever. I was like, no, man, it's Kyrie. He needs to get something done. He's gonna come back and he's gonna play. He's gonna I agree with you 100%. Big W for Kyrie, man. He does definitely do things in a weird way, and there were still some issues with the way he handled everything. But at the end of the day, his heart's in the right place. So yeah, I agree with that one. Hey, man, my L of the week has to that boy Donald Trump. For the main reason that after all that, he flew out on a helicopter or whatever on Wednesday morning, and no one's heard from him since. Can't even say nothing on Twitter. RIP Bozo.
That's it. As the AMP boys say, bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, that man is out of here.
But hey, man, this isn't the question of the week, but this is a good. I have a real question for you right now.
Okay.
Does Trump qualify for a stimmy now?
Hey,
Because I'm pretty sure he's unemployed. I'm just saying, bro. Does he
not
get a
if he
stimmy
goes
this
to
time?
jail.
No,
That
that's crazy.
hey, that's crazy. Imagine the president of the United States going to jail. That's a crazy statement. Like, can you
Because he
imagine?
can't get the pardon from New York. New York's on his head.
As they should be.
Should have paid them taxes, big fella. Like,
Mhm. I mean, 4 years of ruining people's lives. I mean, you got to expect your life might get ruined. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's just how karma works. So
yeah, my boy Uncle Sam, he ain't cool with the tax evasion, bro. You don't have to take care of that.
no tax evasion on Uncle Sam's watch, but that's a fact. I mean, okay. That was gonna be like that's my backup L of the week. It's honestly he could take every L of every week. So you know that should just know that is my baseline L of the week. But I'll just add one more to that. Here I'm gonna instigate real quick. Okay.
So I like it. That's what I like to
so this week, earlier this week, there was a lot of talk on the internet that apparently Future and Travis Scott might do a hit battle, which would be very interesting because the hit battles are really entertaining, and I feel like most of them so far have been for like past generations and not really for us. But this would be the first one that is really like for our generation. And I saw a lot of people on the internet saying that Travis has absolutely no chance. Oh, Future's gonna blow him out. There's no way Travis wins. And it's time to instigate. I think Travis would win it. I think Travis would take the W. And I know all y'all are gonna disagree with me on that, but I think Travis would take the W because honestly, Future's he's cool, but he's definitely a legend. He has some hits, but he's not, you know.
Okay.
You know.
So I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen one of these. So like, how does it? Is it like a freestyle thing, or like how does this whole thing work?
So what happens is usually there you have two big artists, right? And they either get in one room or do it over live, but they just play 20, they each play 20 hits, 20 of their hit songs.
Oh, of their hit songs?
Yeah. So it's like whoever has the biggest hits wins. And they don't say who wins, but like people in the comments will say who wins, you know?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not gonna lie, I might agree with you, bro. Travis has he's got some classics, bro. He's got some
Really?
classics, man. Obviously, Future's the man, but Travis has some classics, dude.
Hey,
I
just
love
saying,
it.
Travis, sleeper pick. So
Okay, with you. But anyways, the slander segment, man. I got a couple for y'all this week. Number one, we're gonna start with the lady who stole, I think, Nancy Pelosi's laptop from the White House and tried to sell it to the Russians. I mean, it's not really enough. There's not really much I can eat. Like it's low-key enough said, but you know, I mean, you're a patriot or whatever, but you're trying to sell Nancy Pelosi's laptop to the Russians. Make it make sense. And anyone else who stormed the Capitol that's getting arrested this week deserves all the slander because you are a bum. How did you? Why did you? I don't know. We already talked about the Capitol crew a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I just wanted to slander her. Garbage human being. Anyways, number two, we got three of them, but number two, the Georgia Republican. It was like I think she's from the House of Representatives who drafted impeachment letters on Thursday, the 21st for Biden. Yeah, trying to impeach Biden. He's second. Bro had been in there for like 26 hours, and she's trying to impeach him. Like he literally hadn't done anything yet besides like lifting a Muslim ban and like saying you have to wear masks in government facilities. Like, oh my God! And it was, I think her like reasoning was because he abused his power as vice president. Which I don't even know if that's even. I don't know, even if that was true. I don't even know if that's allowed. Like, wouldn't you have to impeach him as the vice president or something? Like, you know, like something he did 4 to 8, like or 12 to whatever, 12 and between 4 and 12 years ago. Sorry. Like, I don't even know if you can impeach him for that when he was vice president. Like, I don't even know if that would be possible, even if it was true, and it wasn't. So that was another one. No.
And also to add on that, I guarantee anything that Biden did as vice president is nowhere near as much of an abuse of power as Trump did for literally 4 years. So y'all
Bro,
can't
just
be
called a
playing.
coup on the Capitol building.
Like,
Stop
what
it.
is your argument? Like,
Stop it, bro. Stop it. Oh my god. Anyways, man, you already know what the last one has to be, man.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Goes
Let's get
out to
into it.
Dani Leigh, the Caucasian woman who released like a snippet for a song titled Yellow Bone, I believe, talking about how the baby wants a yellow bone, essentially. Well, you'll hear a little more about this later, but yeah. And then she because the slander is for claiming to be a black woman, a light-skinned
She's
black
not
woman,
black.
and then writing a whole song about it and following that up by dropping her 23andMe, proving that she is not black. And yeah,
That's a fat
yeah.
L. I mean, like,
I'm gonna just leave it at that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, first of all, yellow bone. I don't really like that term. I don't like yellow bone, red bone. I don't really like. These are weird terms to me, but those terms are specifically for black, used by black people to describe light-skinned black people. And at first, I thought we'll get into this obviously, but I thought she was black, so it made sense. But to find out you're not even black and you're claiming that you're a yellow, like, what is make that make sense? I don't
Ah, it's a
understanding.
bad look for you, man. It's a bad look.
Terrible look.
All those slanders were like kind of also L's of the week, but no, they all deserve slander. Is kind of the point.
Yeah. And I had a couple different people who deserve slander this week as well. But I'll kind of summarize them a little bit. I'm giving slander to literally all refs, NBA refs this week. All of them deserve L's because there were a couple egregious things that happened this week in the NBA. First of all, the Draymond Green ejection.
God, no, oh my god. Actually,
Literal
can you say something real quick? No,
garbage.
that was
Yeah.
bad, though. I just want to say that the ref literally during the game admitted that he got it wrong and decided not to rescind the technical. I'm not sure.
I'll put that on
Maybe
the
it's
screen.
yeah, maybe it's like you're not allowed to or whatever. But I'm pretty sure he just said he's not going to rescind it, even after he admitted that he got it wrong. Because Draymond, by the way, he was yelling at his teammate, and the ref thought he was yelling at him, which was weird in itself. But anyways, yeah, bad.
I get that it's a rule that you can't really rescind a tech, but if you know you got it wrong, and especially now that we have the challenge rule in the NBA, you couldn't just be like, oh yeah, my bad, you're right. Let me keep you in the game. Like, you just
Yeah,
throw him out of the game for yelling at his
yeah,
teammate. That doesn't make sense.
makes no sense. Yeah,
It
and
literally makes no sense.
I'll throw in. By the way, people were upset about a call in the Packers Bucks game. Honestly, I didn't see the play because we were recording during it. Like it just happened, but there might be more slander coming in for something on that last drive. But
That's a fact. And then the next the next bad call by a ref is, I don't know if you saw this, but Giannis got called for a flagrant for Euro stepping into a player. That's another thing. This man just did a simple Euro step. His elbow went a little bit high on I think he might have hit the player in the face, but that's what a Euro step is. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one because that doesn't make sense. I'll put that clip up right here. And then the last one is, I don't know if you saw, but last night LeBron during the Rockets, they played Chicago during the Chicago Lakers game. This man LeBron was literally walking on the side, the banister thing. You saw that, right? And I'm not slandering LeBron because it's like whatever, but like for literally any other player, especially Draymond or Boogie, that's an ejection. You're out of there. That's an ejection. How are you not going to call that? How are you not going to call anything on that? Like,
no,
come on now.
It was one thing if he had to catch himself and then got down, but he like caught himself and then turned around and walked back. He just walked back because
How is that
he
not
was
a
bored.
T? Are you for real right now?
I promise you, Draymond gets one for yelling at his teammates. Boogie will get him. Boogie got one I saw. I was watching a game like a couple weeks ago. He was making faces. Like he got fouled and he was like making faces, shrugging at the refs, like, yo, come on. And then he got teed up for that. Like,
you got a T for that, yeah. And then last thing, I'll make this really quick. But the did you see the reporter that called Steph Wardell during the conference? That was
funny.
Bro, you need to, like, who taught you how to talk to people? Like, I guarantee you do not know that man like that. I guarantee it's only his mother and his wife that calls him that. No one else can call a man the name that he doesn't go by. Like, that's just weird, bro. That's just weird.
No. and I'm sure like his family may be causing that everyone's, but I guarantee you, bro, Aisha doesn't even call him that unless he's doing something wrong. Unless he like,
Facts.
like, let's be honest, bro. If he's out of pocket, she might be like, "Yo, Wardell, you need to chill out" or something like that. But she
Yeah.
didn't even call him that on a regular. Like, nah, you need to chill out with that. You don't know him like that.
That's just weird energy, but I had to put that in there. But yeah, those are my slander segment. That's my slander of the week.
Yeah, I like that one. Anyways, let's move on to the question of the week. Shout out to my guy Reggie O'Haron. He came in with a pretty interesting question, I think. So, the question is, what do you want to see Joe Biden do in office? And so, honestly, I'm like, I'll speak for myself, but I am not I don't know that I'm all that much about politics. Like, I'm not any sort of political expert or whatever, but there are a few things that I guess I would like to address. So, the first one is climate change because I don't know. Basically, bro, we like that needs to be almost priority number one. I guess COVID first, but like other than that,
We got to
it
turn
doesn't
this
like
around right now.
COVID doesn't even matter if the climate change like we don't get that under control because we're all gonna die, like literally all of us. So it's not like yeah, you got to get COVID out of the way because that's the more urgent issue. But climate change is the more important issue in the long run. The COVID numbers can be zero, and the climate change, or if we don't get climate change under control, we're all gonna be dead anyways. So yeah, that needs to be dealt with. And then, like I mentioned, COVID definitely gotta vaccinate all the people. I mean, I think that's pretty much already moving. Getting everyone vaccinated, getting life back towards normal. Hopefully, hey, I would like to see it done at least by June or July, so we can get a little summer in. And
Facts.
I'm hoping, at least for us, that we can get a baseball season in the spring. So I don't know if that's really Biden's job, but yeah, I'm just saying. If we're talking about what you'd like to see, that's what I'd like to see. And then some police reform as well. I'll say defund the police, my guy. Like I know it's a little flashy, whatever, hot like term, but no, yeah, defund the police. I think really what that means, if you somehow don't know already, is reallocating funds to make the police more effective and make them so that they do their jobs and there's other people to do the other jobs that they don't really need to be doing because like whether it's just people dealing with mental health issues or whatever it is, and also de-weaponizing the police because they don't need to
Facts.
have. I think some police like they have access to tanks. Come on, bro. There is no situation where police need tanks
What do you
and
need a
like
tank for as a police
big
officer?
machine
Like,
guns and all that, man. They don't need that. And no one needs that, by the way, besides the military. So, anyways, yeah.
facts. But I mean, literally all of what Chris said is exactly what I would say. I mean, first of all, the COVID, you got to get COVID under control. Like, I mean, we had how many months? 9 months, 10 months of a president who did not care about the pandemic at all, didn't even let us know that it was happening. So now that we finally have someone that believes that it's a real thing, Biden needs to, get those vaccines out. Also, make it clear that it's a real thing and people should believe in it. Put some belief behind, this pandemic that we're going through right now. So I agree with Chris on that. I also agree with Chris on climate change. I saw that I correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Biden re-entered us into the Paris Agreement, which
Yeah, I believe he
I
did.
think
Like
yeah,
day one,
which
I
I
think it was.
that affects the like wait, is that the climate thing? I don't know. I think it
I
is.
think
Maybe
it
not.
has something. No, I think it's something. I don't know exactly. Like we said, we're no experts, but I believe it has something to do with climate change. It's like a universal international climate change agreement or something like that.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is the
Well,
Paris
yeah, hey,
Agreement.
low key, we know what we're talking about. We're just playing. We're just being humble. We know what we're talking
We know a little
about.
song
Experts.
singing, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
We paid
So
attention.
yes, we love to see that, but we do need a little bit more from Biden because like we're really behind this climate change thing. We got to figure it out right now. And that kind of connects to the defund the police thing, which I also agree with. I feel like, and we mentioned this all the way in our third episode, that Biden is not necessarily the answer to this country's problems, at least in my opinion. I feel like he's not as progressive as we need him to be. Like he's not the type that is going to defund the police or really push to save us from literally killing the planet. Like he's not in favor of the Green New Deal. And he's not in favor of defunding the police, which I think are two things that I definitely disagree with him on. But I'm just hoping that we can pressure him enough, or that people in the government pressure him enough to really take these things as seriously as they need to be taken. So vaccinating everyone, getting a hold of this COVID thing, climate change, and defunding the police. Those are my three things as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And immediately, low key, like in terms of defense police, even if he doesn't do that, the bare minimum, you got to get more training in, and especially like I don't know if you can make someone less racist, but more training in there and more or like consequences for, when the police have complaints and stuff like that.
Right. At least police reform. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Other than
And
that, solution is AOC for president. I'm just saying.
so. Facts. I gotta agree. I have nothing. That's just facts. But yeah, I feel like we spent a good amount of time on all of this. The basics of every Go with the Flow episode. So now it's time for a little conversation about I don't even know how to describe exactly what we talked about, but it was kind of like how
just like
race
also
and
like the Black experience in general, but
right, Black
on
experience, how that connects to the American culture right now, and also just like in general in our everyday lives. And we had the pleasure of getting one of our homies on, Bryce, who we really appreciate for coming on at pretty late notice also. So shout out to Bryce. And yeah, anything else you want to add?
No, man. It's a really interesting episode. It's a little long, but if you got the time, try and stick around. It was a lot of good stuff that we talked about. So
yeah, I gotta say that the end, all fire. The end was really
it gets better towards the end. So
exactly. So just stick around if you really want to hear a really good conversation. And if you do stick around, we really appreciate it. And yeah, here's the episode. So all right, y'all. Well, we have a very special guest today to join us in these interesting conversations that we're gonna have. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Bryce Dawkins. I'm also a senior at Head-Royce and excited to be on the podcast today.
Yeah. And just to start it off, how are you doing? How are you doing right now? And actually, you're going back to school, which is interesting. So we should talk about that because that's an interesting thing that's happening with Head-Royce right now.
It's been pretty fun actually. I'm in a pretty good cohort, and it's kind of interesting because they're all in different classes at the same time. So sometimes it can be a little bit distracting, but it's nice just to get out of the house and see people, obviously, and have a bit more of a routine to my day. So I'm doing pretty good, a little tired, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a weird time for seniors in general, but hey, second semester,
we made it. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, today we're gonna do a little bit of a different thing than we usually do. We usually talk about sports or music or whatever, but we've been seeing a lot of interesting, I don't even know how to describe it, just a lot of interesting things happening on the internet right now regarding race on social media and all that. I mean, the main thing that made Chris and I actually think of this topic was Dani Leigh, a rapper, singer. So basically what happened was she put up an Instagram post of a song that she was working on, and it's all about yellow bone. That's what he want, all that stuff.
Yellow bone, that's what he wants, what he wants. Yellow bone, that's what he wants, what he wants, what he wants.
And it was making the rounds on Instagram and Twitter, and people were getting on her head because it's just like it's weird to just kind of be like I don't know, just flex your light skinnedness on the internet, especially in the time we live in right now. So I don't know. I mean, I think y'all have seen the video. It's been around. So I just want to know what y'all's immediate thoughts were when you saw the video.
All right. Yeah, go ahead as a guest. Go first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when I hadn't heard about it for a little while, but when I first heard, the first thing that surprised me was that she isn't Afro-Latina or Black at all, which was a huge shock. I've listened to a few of her songs, like have some of them downloaded and everything, and I had always thought that she was like light skinned and actually Afro-Latina. So to hear that she made a song about celebrating like being light skinned and how that's what he wants and everything, but she's not even like African American at all, that was just a little bit of a big surprise. I think that was what really made it a little bit worse for me when I heard about it all. I don't know, Chris, what you wanted to say, but that was like a big surprise.
Yep. I think that's I, yeah, I think that's one of the worst parts of it is that she posted like what, like a 23andMe or something like that on Twitter, and the percentages were not looking great for her. She was trying to prove her blackness, and it kind of backfired. So yeah, that was a little weird. And then also one thing, it's just the lyrics. It's one thing to, I think the real debate was like, is she being colors? And it's one thing to like, say, like mention being a yellow bone, whatever you want to say about that. That's one thing, but saying like that's what he wants, I think is where it gets a little bit like not really cool. So I don't know.
I thought
Yeah,
her
it's just
response.
like,
go ahead, Brandon.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say I thought her response was interesting too, with some like backhanded Instagram comments and like things that she had said instead of. I just feel like as an artist, if that's something that's happening, especially with what you're saying about like Black Lives Matter and the recent things that are happening in America, and people have called you out and you're like defensive instead of trying to understand where people are coming from and try to say, oh, maybe that was not the best time or the best song in general to be putting out into the world. To see her like just be super defensive and basically be like, I didn't do anything wrong. You guys are just like soft and things like that. I was like, okay, so she's just pretty firm in her ground, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I thought before all this blew up that she was black, at least half black or something like that. So I was like, okay, that makes more sense. But then when you realize that she's not, okay, all right, she's black, she's 21%, I think it was, but like you're not like, I don't even know what to say at this point because it's like you're not really, you can't really claim the culture that you're not even a part of, like yellow bone, red bone, all that stuff. As weird as those terms are, those are black terms that people use for black people. And when you try to take that for yourself as not a black person, it's kind of weird. And it's just like, you're not supporting the culture. And like, especially right now, I feel like we should be trying to bring everyone together in the black community and not like create more division or whatever, because we need to band together because no one else is for us. We got to be for ourselves.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
it's
just
crazy.
very outright, like, I don't know, it's just like really uplifting light-skinned women over dark-skinned women and all other women, which is just, it's not, I don't think it's really ever the time for that, but just especially now, it's, I don't know what she was thinking or her like label or anything.
We just don't need that right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting also just talking about if she is black or not, because 21%, like it's a decent percentage. And obviously looking at her like 23andMe or whatever it was she's definitely mixed. I mean, she comes to heritage from a lot of different places, right? So I think it's like, I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to be the one to say like that doesn't, like what counts and what doesn't count as black, but I don't know, she was a lot more European than anyone from Africa. So I don't know.
Yeah, facts. I mean, it's hard to be someone like, it's hard to not be that person and define someone else's blackness. Like I don't want to say like, oh, you're not black, but 21%, like that's pretty borderline to me. I mean, I've seen a lot of people talking about like what percentage exactly makes you black, and then there's always been that thing about the one drop rule. I don't know if y'all have heard about that, but like if you have any black in you, you're black. But I don't know. It's a tough conversation.
I think a lot of it depends on how you present to people, because I mean, if you think about like the white privilege, the concept of white privilege, it's a lot of it is just how you look, right? Or and then it also a little bit is, do you talk like a white person or act like a white person or whatever it is. But I think most of it is really how you look. And so if you have features that you can pass as white, I don't know if you can really claim being black at that point. So,
it's also just interesting, all the artists who like have that like tiny percentage of black in them are the ones who just try and play it up to like the best of their ability. And it's like, why do you need to like do something that you know is going to be controversial and like just put yourself out there so much to the point where you're getting all this backlash? It's like, if you're black, then like awesome, but you don't need to like go play and like say the N-word a bunch of times and like do all this stuff, try and act more black in the media to like claim that or make it like known to the world. I don't know what the point is there, like just really trying to like gain stuff from it.
Right. I mean, I thought she was black, first of all. I mean, I don't know. She I feel like she passes as black to me. But I mean, from some of the pictures I saw, maybe that's just makeup. Honestly, like I don't know if y'all have seen it, but like the pictures where she looks really, really light skinned, and then there's pictures where she looks really, really dark skinned. So she's definitely trying to play into like being black, and it's just like why? Just be you, be yourself. It's not really like
Yeah, there's that's true of like so many different celebrities and everything. They're all trying to look darker. I mean, I don't know why. Like, just in general, people like tanning themselves and saying like, "Oh, I'm so pale" and everything. It's like, okay, as celebrities, like, what is the need to want to look darker? I don't get it. I just have never understood that. I'm like, why is it more valued than like having a lighter skin tone or something when that's actually the beauty standard? It doesn't make sense to me, like at all. So
yeah. I mean, I think part of it is like being black is like black culture is pop culture right now. Like we make what's cool. Like all the TikTok trends that comes from black culture. That comes like we make all the dances, we make all the cool songs right now. So I think people are trying to capitalize off that. But it's sad because I feel like a lot of celebrities that are trying to be more black, and if you see celebrities that are like tanning themselves or trying to look darker, they're not going all the way. They're like fitting in between that white and that black. So they're going for that light skin look because they know that's what like the beauty standard is in the media, at least right now. I mean, it's just like they're really manipulating their audience, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that it really, I think it's a lot of what you just talked about with the whole black culture is pop culture thing, and I think we're gonna end up talking about this a little later too. But yeah, I think a lot of it is that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that kids idolize are, they're black, whatever, whether it's musical artists, athletes, whatever it is. I think black people control a lot of the culture, and so people want to get in on that, I guess.
There's a lot of conversation right now about the beauty standards and be like, because I feel like Chris and I were talking about this like I don't know, last night or something like that. Like there's the beauty standard that we've always been taught as young black people and just like people in general is that like being lighter skin is more attractive. We all like in every commercial we see, it's white women in those commercials. And it's weird now to see the shift towards like black is really what's in right now, and being like being black is cool now. But you can't be too black or else that's not it. That's not what's in right now. It's so
it's
seeing
just
that balance is crazy.
trend to try and be more black, which is what's like the most annoying part. Because I feel like I just wonder how long this will last. Like in 20 years, are people still going to be like trying to act more black to like try and get in with the pop culture and everything? Or yeah, like seeing white women get like box braids and dreads and cornrows, especially. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is happening here? It that really gets on my nerves because it's like you guys are the beauty standard, but this is what's trending. So you're trying to like just have it all mixed into like the best thing that you can be to get the most views and like have the most followers and things like that. It's like you don't get to like pick and choose, which they do and they currently are. So that's what's like annoying.
Yeah, and I think what you said about a trend is really important because it's weird that a lot of people that benefit off of it are white people that they're trying to make themselves seem more black as opposed to the people that just look like that naturally or do whether it's how you talk or how you look or whatever it is. It's all the white people that are kind of emulating it that end up getting the benefits from it. So
right, but when we act black, like we get clowned for it or whatever. And I feel like this even affects us as students. I mean, at least for me, like I've experienced people like being disappointed when I don't talk a certain way or when I don't act a certain way, or you know what I mean? Like they want me to be more black. They want me to act like all the rappers out right now. But like if that's not who I am, that's not who I am. But like if I were to go all if I were to fake it, go all crazy with it, they wouldn't like that anymore. So it's
they think it's so cool.
What's up?
They just think it's like so cool. Like I like being at Head-Royce and like seeing students that will see like black students that act more like those rappers, and they just like they're like so intrigued and like so interested in see as like a show almost. Like how much can I get out of this? And like oh like and then they try and hype you up and things like that. And it's like if that's not who we actually are, like we're not cool anymore, or like what's going on here? Yeah, I think I felt it as a student too.
I think they see us as a show is a great way to put it. Like they want to buy into that culture. They want to be us pretty much, but they don't want too much of us, like I said. So
Well, because it's, I mean,
what's up? No, you're
I was
good.
gonna
You're
say,
good.
it's the thing about picking and choosing, because
Mhm.
the pop culture end is cool, but then when it comes to trying to march for trying not to get shot by the police, and all that, I don't know.
Yeah.
They want parts of it, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, then they go and like protest or Black Lives Matter and get coffee and food right after and make a social event after out of it.
Yeah.
So you're taking every part that you can except the actual oppression, the actual trauma, the actual like fearing for our lives. So
Right. And I mean, connecting that all the way to TikTok, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but like even TikTok, they take all of these dances created by Black creators. Like TikTok is kind of gotten popularized by Black creators. But when people hashtag Black Lives Matter, or they actually have people that are Black making videos, they push those to the side. They don't promote those because everyone wants to see the white people doing the dances.
right.
It's like, how can you basically make an app that got big off of Black creators and then not support those Black creators that made your app big? Like, it's really the most frustrating and mind-boggling thing to me.
Mhm.
Like, it's sad to see that that's a real thing for real.
A lot of the dances and stuff, like I think the Renegade was the one that really helped TikTok blow up. Like that's what Charlie and Addison were doing at like the NBA All-Star game, right? That was created by, I think, some like
It was a Black girl.
13-year-old Black girl,
Yeah.
something like that. And I think she was invited to All-Star game too, but nobody knows who she is. She's not making tens of millions of dollars of an LA mansion right now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. The TikTok algorithm is crazy, and I don't know, I'm not trying to make any accusations or whatever, but it feels like there's always a lot more white people showing up on the For You page. So
Oh, for
I
sure.
think that's definitely part of the issue.
Algorithm is very centered towards those white young TikTokers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok got caught up. I mean, there's articles on the internet you can see, like, people expose TikTok for it. They're literally just pushing Black people to the side and promoting those white people who are stealing those dances that Black people created.
Mhm.
Like, it's just like, it's pretty clear. And the fact that, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of my friends know that, like, I'm like kind of iffy on TikTok, and that's one of the reasons why. But it doesn't seem like TikTok's taking any heat for it, or any of these social media platforms. Nothing's happening to them for this. They had to apologize. That's it, and they're done with it. So
Yeah, I mean, nothing is gonna happen, which is like the sad reality. I think
right,
I've gotten used to knowing like when white people in those like big companies and things do something wrong, like they're never gonna have to actually do anything about it, because like consumers are still just eating up everything they're putting out there with white artists and like silencing all the Black people who made the platform big. Nothing's gonna happen, and it's sort of like, okay, so I guess we just have to kind of deal with it.
mm.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows that they only value us to an extent. They want us to buy into it. They want us to create the dances, but they don't actually support us. They're just kind of using us for their gain.
I think, Brandon, what you've been referencing also is that there was the specific incident of, I think it was the Black Lives Matter and George Floyd hashtags both got, somehow there was some glitch where they both were showing 0 views when you type them in or something like that. And I don't know, it seems pretty, that like, it's one thing that their algorithm is racist, but it seems pretty wild to me that those specific 2 hashtags in the middle of the summer were the ones that were having a glitch on them. Like, I don't know. That seems, I mean, because it appears to me like they were trying to get those ones specifically to show up less for people, which is probably, I'm guessing, because people were like, oh, like stop bringing politics onto TikTok or whatever, like getting annoyed with stuff like that, which again speaks to the point where it's Black people are cool until the other parts of being Black come into the equation. So
Black Lives Matter. Oh, go ahead.
I was just, I think it's harder to expect change from like the big companies. I think I always try and think it should start with people using the platform and everything, but those are the people that are like, I don't want to see this on my For You page. It's a lot easier for me to just ignore everything that's happening, go back to my safe little, bubble of not having to deal with any of this. And so when they see that, like I remember, I mean, it was in the movie The Hate U Give, when like Emmett Till had come up on the white girl's like Instagram. She was like, I don't want to see that, and like things like that. And I'm like, if you don't want to see that, like we're never gonna get anywhere. Like these companies aren't gonna put out something out there that you're not gonna want to see because they're trying to make the most money. So it's just a whole cycle. Like, when is this gonna stop?
Right. I mean, we're gonna at some point we're gonna have to like really face the issues at hand. I mean, like, and you're right. I think it doesn't really start with the small corporations. It starts with, or the big corporations. I mean, it starts with like the actual people using the app coming together and really like us, at least us. I don't know about necessarily us, but Black people trying to educate white people. Actually, scratch that. We shouldn't have to do the educating. Y'all
Right.
should be getting educated on this, because especially if y'all are going to take our culture and try to make it yours pretty much,
Yeah.
y'all gotta help us out a little bit, like, please, like, come on now, like, we shouldn't do any of that. We shouldn't have to do any of that teaching for y'all should just know.
It's not
So,
our job.
We
exactly.
shouldn't have to.
Talking about this in Black Student Union just the other day, with what was happening at Head-Royce with the Zoom bombings and everything, and how they had reached out to us students to talk to other students about it. And I remember I'd been reached out to, and I was like, okay, so I was in the room where like the N-word was said, and like that was obviously a really weird, traumatic experience. And I'm being asked to like talk to some sophomores about it, and I was like, so I feel like I should have to do this because like I want them to get an actual perspective, but also that's not like my emotional labor to do, and I don't want to feel pressure to do it. But I definitely feel like I just always constantly feel pressure at Head-Royce to say something, and that's not our position as Black students to have to say something. And it even goes up to administration, I think, with Ms. Tucker and just different people working in like the Office of Academic Inclusion who take a lot of things onto their back, I think, on behalf of the whole community.
I think it's a great point that we, I mean, I don't know, I think at Head-Royce and even beyond it seems like it's a lot of times up to the Black people to explain why this is, or one thing is one way or whatever it is, or why something makes you feel a certain way. And I think part of it is probably just schooling in general, and people aren't educated to well understand racism. And I mean, obviously, yeah, white people can only understand it to a degree because there's always an aspect that you can't understand without experiencing it. But just understanding how deep it goes is, it's something that I feel like could be taught in schools. And I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but it seems like it always ends up coming back to Black people having to explain it and teach people. It shouldn't be that way.
Right. I mean, like, we watch like 13th, I guess, but that's really the only modern Black history that we really talk about. We just talk about slavery and 13th. That's it. And I feel like there's so much more to the story, obviously. And I feel like I've honestly, over this past year in summer of 2020, I learned a lot more about Black history on Instagram and stuff and social media than I really ever did in the classroom. And I mean, this wasn't even supposed to be about Head-Royce, but hey, it's true. I mean, this is our Black experience. Like, there's not a lot of Black history being taught, modern Black history, at least. Like, and I say modern as in like after 1960, like.
No, it's like it goes. It skips from like 1865 to 1960. That's the thing.
Facts.
Not even.
We get slavery and the civil rights movement, and then
that's from too. Like I never heard of Black Wall Street until the summer. I saw it on Instagram.
Same.
Just never heard of it. So.
Same. I mean, I never heard about us thriving. Yeah, like you said, on Wall Street. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. I've just read an Instagram post about it, but I think there was a point in New York, like on, I don't know if it was actual Wall Street, but well, Harlem. There's Harlem where we were like really thriving for real, and then there was Tulsa, Oklahoma, and
I think that was called Black Wall Street.
Right,
yeah, that's what I was talking about. Tulsa.
Right, and both of those things, like Chris said, I never learned about. Like we also don't learn about Black people thriving.
Exactly.
We just learn about all of the struggle and the pain, and I feel like that kind of feeds into white people being kind of like fascinated by us and like trying to ask us more and like trying to get us to teach them about it. And it's like, it's not our job. It's not. Y'all got to do the research to really understand it. We shouldn't have to carry that burden on our back to have to explain these things to y'all. Y'all should just know it.
Yeah, the only positive like Black aspect to my education was learning about MLK when I was like 6. And it's like there's a whole lot more than like one activist, and it's It also just goes back, I know this isn't the point of our conversation, but like they choose very carefully what's being taught in all these schools across the country. And it's like the easiest lesson to teach is MLK, who like projected love and peace and all these things, then just all the different aspects that we don't hear about.
I feel like all you really learn in school is that Rosa Parks didn't want to sit on the back of the bus. MLK, he was about peace and stuff, and then Malcolm X was kind of like his kind of counterpart who was a little more cool with violence.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was some marches, and then that's kind of it.
That's it. So. And even like relating this to like a couple weeks ago during MLK Day, I saw a lot of posts on Instagram talking about how MLK wasn't actually like all about, like he was not necessarily all non-violent. Like I think he said, I'll put it up on the screen or something, but he said violence is the language of the unheard or something like that.
It was riots.
Riots. It was that, exactly.
But riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. But in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard.
And we're always taught in school that Martin Luther King was no violence, just peaceful marches, but he understood that some riots had to happen in order for stuff to get done. He was more progressive in his views, and no one talks about that in school. We're never taught that, ever.
Yeah, I mean, all you really hear is, oh yeah, he wanted Black people to be treated equal. And it seemed, at least from, and I saw a lot of the same things, I think, on Instagram and Twitter and whatever. And it seems like he had a lot bigger of a vision in terms of just equality in general. And he knew a lot of the things that needed to happen in order for that to be the case as well. So he knew a lot. He had a really large vision, I guess, for equality. And he really, I think, understood that it was a long process and a lot of different things needed to happen. And I don't know, all I hear in school is he really liked peace and wanted to do everything non-violently. And he obviously made a lot of sacrifices personally for that, like going to jail and all that stuff. And still just every time just kept being peaceful. And one of the weird things about that is I feel like that kind of plays into what a lot of people were saying over the summer, where it's like, oh, rioting is not, like, I agree, but this is the wrong way to do it. Because he was someone that at least from the way we would understand it, like he was like, he would rather just sit there and be nonviolent and not get anything done than riot and get something done. And that's kind of the impression that was given off, which I don't know if that's really the case. So.
Right. And during the riots and even on MLK Day, you had like Republican senators quoting MLK, and it's like, bro, that's not, like, come on now. Like, y'all are just using it. Like, it's pretty clear to me that at least society that's controlled by white people, for the most, actually, I'll say, yeah, it totally is. Yeah. So, I mean, society really just uses MLK. They whitewash MLK's message to control Black people into like not fighting back, or just being like, oh, like they say like, oh, MLK wouldn't want you to do that. Like, don't riot. Like, MLK would not support that. And it's like, MLK he just wants change. And it's going to have to take some real action, overthrowing, to make that change happen. I mean, we can't just march in this, like, clearly marching in the streets, it really did help that cause at that point, but we will only really get to see real equality if we really make some changes in the system. And he knew that, but we're not taught that. So, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell tweeted something quoting Martin Luther King, like, a menace to society.
Yeah, I mean, this is nowhere near what we were actually planning on talking about, but I mean, it's all true. This is all facts. Like, I mean, I don't even know where to go back into what we have on the docket, but like, it all leads into how white people control society, and they also control what we see on TV. And like the fact that we're taught that white is beautiful, and like it's put into our minds that like whiteness is the most beautiful thing. And like you hear the, if it ain't snowin, I ain't going thing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, that's like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And like, it's sad that it's a real thing, but it's a real thing on the internet. And like, I don't know. I guess I'll just ask, what are your thoughts on just that type of stuff when you see it?
I've never heard if it ain't snowing.
Really?
Yeah, that is wow.
I've seen, it's like one clip. I think it was like a courthouse, one of those court shows. And it was
Yeah,
some
yeah.
dude that was like cheating on his wife or something. And I'll tell you, that clip is, you can't tell me it's not hilarious. That clip itself is hilarious.
You said the white girls do it right.
No, I said if it ain't snowing, I ain't going. That's what I said.
That's why you ain't.
But obviously, the actual message itself it's bad. And I think that honestly, I think it goes back to the media. And that is because as a kid, if all you see in the media is like, I mean, whether it's commercials, movies, anything, all you see in the media is, you know, white people. That's what you're gonna start to think is attractive. And it's, I mean, it's kind of like brainwashing, you know. It's kind of, you're just, I mean, you're taught to believe that's what you believe in. It's not even, I don't even think it's really an individual's fault for having that preference, because I think it's a lot of the media that sets you up for that. And then unfortunately there's stuff on social media which then leads people to saying things like that. And I've seen way too many TikToks over the last couple of weeks, especially saying stuff like that. And then I don't really know how that even happens, but I think it's because of, you know, social media has there's a lot of jokes or whatever about Black women, especially, that get very toxic. And for whatever reason, it's cool. It's like socially acceptable to post stuff like that. And so then people just go ahead and post it. And then
That's just such a problematic statement. And yeah, I've heard things like similar. Like it's not like I don't know it's a thing. But especially like you said, you've seen TikToks recently. Like they've been going on for someone to say like that on social media now. It's like, are you thinking about what you're doing? Or and also it's like, are you looking for a reaction of like those people? Because you know in the comments are gonna be some people who are like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. But there's also gonna be people who are like, are you kidding? Like, what are you doing? And so I always wonder like which reaction they're looking for, if they're just looking to get popularity from people finding it problematic. I think that's a huge thing that happens on social media is like people will say something that they know is going to cause like backlash because it's going to bring them attention. And still throughout that, they get followers, people like, oh, I want to see if this person's actually racist. And let me like stick around to see what this person's actually like. And then they're gaining popularity from that, which is also just like capitalizing off of racism and putting Black people down. So, yeah.
Right. And I mean, unfortunately, I think that some people I'd say a lot of people probably actually believe it, and they're not even trying to get a reaction. They just really believe this. And I'll say, like, as a Black person that's grown up in the 21st century, like there's absolutely like this culture around like putting whiteness and white beauty on a pedestal over Black beauty. And like we've been saying, I mean, you see it all in the media and all that stuff. And like, so it's definitely, like Chris said, it's brainwashing. Like there's absolutely, it doesn't even matter if you're Black or you're white. Like all I've heard white Black dudes say stuff like, if it ain't someone I ain't going, like, you know what I mean? Like people really believe this. And I don't know how we can, I think it's getting a little bit better now because we're seeing more Black people portrayed in the media and all that stuff. But I mean, even the way we're portrayed in the media, it's pretty problematic. So I don't know how we can really fix the problem, but I can for sure say it's a real thing and it's really sad.
Yeah, I think Black people in the media, we're not supposed to be beautiful. We're supposed to be funny and entertaining. And so like just with movies and movie characters, like how Tiffany Haddish blew up and Cardi B, it's because they're like, it's entertaining to watch them sound ghetto and just sound very different. Like we don't look at them for their beauty, or we haven't been taught to at least. And so that's always something I think about too.
And it's the stereotypes too. And I think especially with those two examples, it's like, you know, the loud, in your face type of personalities that are stereotypically looked at as stereotype associated with Black women that then gets perpetrated by the media and gets even more, and then that feeds back into brainwashing, because then that's what little kids see and then that's what they start to believe, and it's a whole cycle that just continues to repeat. And I think on social media, I think people do probably, I mean, I think people do believe it when they post stuff like that, but then I think it's because they can get validation because there's a bunch of, well, at least on TikTok, I think because it's really, I mean, you can see anyone on your For You page and you won't see them ever again, right? So I think people on TikTok, they'll agree with this stuff in the comment section because, I mean, worst thing can happen is someone like writes a comment saying like you're being racist, and then all they have to do is like send a snowflake emoji or whatever, and they think they won the argument. It's like they don't really. There's no real consequence for it, and there's at least. I mean, it depends on what side of TikTok or whatever it ends up going to. It depends on who ends up seeing it, but a lot of the times it's way more people that are like agreeing with it or thinking it's funny than there are saying something like, "Yo, this isn't cool," or like disagreeing. And so they have these opinions in their head, and then they get validated by other people who have the same opinions, and it just gets worse and worse.
Right, and then going back to what Chris was saying, I mean, like, based on how we're portrayed in the media, people expect us to act this way, and then when we don't, they're like, "Are you really black? Are you like what's wrong with you? Like, you aren't the black person that I see on I don't know, World Star on Instagram. Like, you're not like one of them. Like, you're a Oreo. Like, I've definitely been called that. I don't know if y'all have.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
Oh yeah.
My fault, bro.
Definitely gotten that. So like, I think people, and especially like, I don't know if we were gonna get into this later, but I'll just say it now. Like, I don't know if y'all have been seeing the trend where like white dudes are like trying to get at, like trying to, I don't know what the word is. It's not like uplift. It's not like, it's like they're just saying like, oh, I love black women, and like, but they're doing it in a way that it's like they're making it clear that they only want the type of black women that they see in music videos and on World Star, on whatever. Like, it's pretty clear that they don't actually know. Like, they just think that there's one type of black woman and that's it. Like,
yeah, those trends, those TikToks, they're so gross in my opinion. It's just like it's the like the fetishization, which is what we're talking about. It's so like they treat black women as if they're, I don't want to say like animals, like pieces of food basically. And it's like, oh, I just want that, and like I'm gonna talk about it in a way that's just like so dehumanizing and so gross, and get clout for it because it's like I'm moving that appreciation in society that doesn't. It's also like that is not appreciation. That is just, I don't count that as appreciation in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to also the whole black culture is pop culture thing, because I'm guessing that, well, especially in the nature of a lot of those types of TikToks or whatever, I'm guessing that those people are trying to get validation from those black women that they're talking about. And then because there's the whole notion of, well, I think it's like the getting invited to the cookout thing, where if black people decide you're cool, then, that's extra clout points or whatever it is, or that's an ego boost for you if you're cool with the black people on, right. I guess in this case on TikTok. So.
I see that all the time in the comments with like huge dancers, and they'll like get comments like, "Hey, you hit that, like come to the cookout," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm at the cookout, what?" It's just like they live off of that. They love that. It's like, okay, you love that, but you also like, where was your Black Lives Matter post? And also like, where is everything else besides just one post? But yeah, I think they just want to be in so bad. And it's like, I wonder where that started coming from. I guess it still just goes back to the whole pop culture thing, but they want to get like credit, and people, they want praise for appreciating like black culture and black women. And it's like, you shouldn't have your preference or whatever, but you shouldn't get praise for your preference, whatever it is. Just have it and like be silent about it and go about your day. I don't know, like, yeah.
And having a preference also does
Chris
not mean you could go on the internet and call people that don't fit your preference ugly. That is not a preference. That is being racist. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess preferences can have to do with race, but I feel like having a preference and saying like I like white women, that's not really a preference.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that a lot of people on TikTok don't have preferences. It's a lot of it is just straight up racism, honestly. I was gonna say that much.
Yeah, I
But
was thinking about like what actually is a preference. How do you? I don't get it. I don't know.
I was gonna say that. Like, how do you define a like? I honestly, hold on. I'll look it up right now. I'll look up the definition of a preference, and we could really get into this because I'm actually interested. Like,
yeah,
because the way that preferences are described to me or have been described to me is like it's a race thing. It's like, oh, I like Black women, I like Asian women, like all this stuff, but that's not really what I don't think that's what a preference is.
I was gonna say, usually if you're looking at like preferences in general, it's not like you only want one thing. It's just like, oh, these are things on the menu. I'm just thinking about food or something. Sorry, but
That's facts.
I like this, but I don't like hate the other things. I'm not gonna put those other things down just because I'm like, you know.
Right.
I think that's a huge part of it. Yeah. And so the only other thing I was gonna say is that I think it makes a lot more sense, at least to me, it makes a lot more sense to say that you like certain features about a person, and if those features line up with a race, oh, that is a preference, right? Like if you like curly hair, then maybe you'll tend to like gravitate towards Black women, right? There's that is a preference, I think, versus saying that you like white people. That's not. I don't know.
Because also, literally everybody looks different. There's not one Black woman like that exists, and sure, like there's obviously the skin color is the same. Maybe they have like a bigger nose and bigger lips, but those are features. And so, like when you categorize it as like one thing, that's also super problematic. That's a good point.
But in their head, they think that there's one type of Black person or Black woman or Black man, like because that's all they see, and it's just so easy to tell when you see a white person, or I don't know, it doesn't have to be a white person, but someone who's never really interacted with Black people and doesn't know that there's other types. It's not just one. There's not just one type of Black woman. Like, so that's the other thing about preference that I didn't really think about. Like, if you say you like a certain race, like there's so many different types of people within that race that that's not a good classification for what you like, right? Like that logically that doesn't make sense
at all. No.
I don't know. We need to move on from that. At least like people got to stop saying like I like certain type of races. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's insulting. I think might have been Chris who said it, but like you're putting all the other races down when you say stuff like that, and that goes all the way back to Dani Leigh trying to like uplift the yellow bones or light skins. She didn't necessarily say that like, well, she said it like that's what he liked. She want a yellow, but she want a light skin. And I mean, it goes even deeper when you think about DaBaby having a Black or a dark-skinned baby mother and dark-skinned kids. It's like, and DaBaby's supporting this. Like he's putting emojis in the
right,
comments, stuff like that. Yeah, and it's like, bro, are you supporting this? You have a dark-skinned family. Like,
yeah,
are you serious right now? Like, it's such a disrespectful thing, and I don't know how she didn't see how problematic it is when she posted it. Like, It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that was a whole other layer. It's like your kid comes from a dark-skinned Black woman, and you were with that dark-skinned Black woman. So, what are you doing here? And I think that's also like, I think you also think about like Black men's role and everything, and just men of different races too. But like Black men, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. It's just, it goes back to like their preferences of like tending not to be dark-skinned women, and them also praising like light-skinned women on TikTok. And it's also kind of reverse, like they'll praise white women or just like light-skinned women. And so it's like the only praise that dark-skinned women are getting is from like these white men that are like
doing it for clout.
Yeah. So it's like we gotta appreciate each other and uplift one another, not comment yellow emojis to support that message that like light-skinned women are better.
And I think we should hop into this too, because I think some of the videos that I was talking about where it's just I've literally just seen videos where it's just a bunch of dudes saying like they just saying that they don't find Black women attractive. It's just like, okay, that's just like there's no reason for you to post that, right? And the worst part is that like most of the dudes are Black dudes, and oh man. And the wild part for me also is, and like for DaBaby too, like that your mom is dark-skinned Black woman, bro. Like, you need to stop talking like that, man. You need to stop talking.
I mean, we're taught to like it's basically self-hate. Like we're taught to hate how we look and all that stuff. Like, and it's hard to know whether to blame the person who says these things or the society that made this person think that way, because it's been ingrained in our minds that white features are more beautiful. So like, is it I don't know if it's really on, I don't know. I feel like it's on the society, but we should also put in more of an effort to change our way of thinking and realize that this is just how we've been conditioned to think, and it's not actually how we should think.
Yeah.
I think thinking it, like just having that preference or whatever, that built-in preference, I think that you could say you can blame that on the society, at least more on the society. But then posting stuff like that,
True.
that's just completely on you.
Yeah, going out of your way to film a video like, I don't find dark-skinned women attractive. Okay, like, and?
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, what do you want me to do with that information? Like, okay.
Come on, bro.
Are you trying to convince me? Is that what it is? Like, are people trying to convince other people?
Are you trying to spread? What reaction are you hoping for? It's also like those videos sort of tend to blow up too. So I guess it could be about clout, which I don't know. It's just a whole cycle.
Because it's an echo chamber. I think that's the thing about TikTok, is that since their algorithm, I think is honestly, they have a great algorithm. That's why the app is so good, is that they can find videos that you're going to be interested in. But since their algorithm is so good, then it creates an echo chamber, because a lot of the people that agree with you, or you know, whether they like the same type of content as you do, are then going to see that and then reinforce your beliefs, and then there you go. Then the video has 50,000 likes, and it's just 200,000 people seeing you say that. And
we've really grown up in society that tells us that we're not desirable, and like it's hard to get out of that mindset for real. So
yeah, exactly. It is super sad just thinking about Black children growing up feeling ugly. I don't know if you guys saw that video of a little girl getting her hair done, and she's like looking in the camera, she's like, I'm so ugly.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
That like broke my heart, and I was like, you're 3 years old. Like, oh, that's so sad to me, because your only worry at 3 years old is just supposed to be what your next snack is. I don't know, like what your next toy you're gonna play with is. And so seeing that just ingrained in someone at such a young age, and she's gonna carry that with her, she's thinking about it at 3 years old, it's just a really sad thought.
Yeah, I haven't seen that video, I don't think, but I've definitely seen the videos of like kids playing with dolls, and it'll be like they ask just which one's prettier, and even like 3-year-old black girls always picking the white doll, and it gets taught to you from a very young age, clearly.
Yeah,
super young.
My parents were always big on like trying to get me black dolls and watching movies like The Princess and the Frog, which is the only Disney movie with someone who looks like me, and so I loved it growing up. But you know, like Black parents, I mean, I don't know, say all, because I'm not gonna like generalize them, but there's an effort that you have to put in, just to raise children who are going to appreciate themselves and see themselves as beautiful in the media too. But just that's like an extra effort that you have to go through in general, bringing children of color into the world. So,
and even this, if we're gonna talk about Disney movies, even in that one, wasn't she like a frog for most of the movie, or something like that? Yeah, she
was. Which
yeah.
Why is the one movie about the Black princess turning into a frog?
Oh yeah. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about that movie, but apparently the like main character isn't even a person for most of the movie, and that one even like in that one too. He's like a cat or something for like half the movie or something like that. It's like
that's true.
Even when we do get one, it's y'all gonna mess it up.
It's always like a backhanded, like you get one, but like just for the commercials and the actual movie, it's not really a black person. Like, so
Black Panther was good though. Black Panther.
Facts.
Black Panther, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Black Panther, but it's about time. That was 2018. Like, I guess better late than never.
That was huge in showing, you know, Black children around the world. Like, we're up on the big screen. We are like one of the biggest engrossing movies ever. Like, we can do this too, and you know, we can be praised too. So yeah, that was incredible. Yeah,
I think that was awesome. Like, especially just thinking about like so there's had to be so many little kids that now their favorite superhero is
Right.
and that's awesome to me. So
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Like, I just seeing all the reaction from that movie and like seeing all the people coming to the movie theaters in their kente cloths, you know, like with the I'm black and I'm proud, you know what I mean? Like, just being actually proud to be black because we're really on the big screen right now. Like, it's just you love to see it. That's the type of stuff we need right now.
Yeah, we'll always need, I think.
Yeah, true. I mean, I was just gonna like say like the support for black people shouldn't stop after this summer or after Black Panther. Like, this is a continuous thing that we need to see in order to keep uplifting black people. So
yeah, that just goes back to like white people ate that movie up. They loved it. They really supported it, and then they go right back to not doing anything to help support black people besides buying that movie ticket, which isn't even. That's about like them loving. I don't even want to say like Marvel, or I think it's Marvel, right?
Yeah, it's Marvel.
Yeah.
It's Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like Marvel, the other one, but like that's you loving those like action movies and things, not you actually going on your way to support Black Lives Matter and like black people. And so it kind of stops there, and it's like that's a harsh limit to have.
And that's entertainment. That's literally it's a movie. So
right.
Yeah. I think that I heard a lot of people saying like BLM is not a trend over the summer because I guess it was a little bit of foresight and like we've seen this a little bit before. Like we kind of know how this guy is going to go. And I mean, obviously, I think this time it's been a little more stuck in people's heads as we've gone on. But then again, I'm black, so
you still see it die down.
But I think even still, it's not so many things getting posted on stories anymore and whatever. So
yeah, it's like over the summer, everybody was constantly posting, and I think what I've noticed too, like with my Instagram stories that I see, is like people posting what Black Lives Matter over the summer translated to people posting more in general about like all issues of social justice. Like there's so many more posts now just being spread about women's rights and I don't know, LGBTQ rights and things like that. But like those Black Lives Matter posts stopped after summer, and so we were right, like they were going to die down after it wasn't super relevant to the people that don't have to deal with it every single day of their lives. And so I still post a lot about my story, and I'm like, if you're tired of seeing this, just think about how tired we are of dying every week and seeing our people die every week and having that trauma constantly reinforced in our minds. Like for you, it might be an Instagram post that you have to see, but this is something we live with. So I'm just like, let's try and remember that.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of people on like, oh, actually, here's what it was. It was when the NBA took like 3 days off. It was like 3 days, dude, to boycott during the first round. And I think it was right after Jacob Blake was shot. I think, and then
I think that's right.
People were like, "Oh, I get it, but like, we just want to watch basketball." It's like, really, man? Like, no, like, no.
You can't say you get it, but I want to watch basketball in the same sentence about that. Like, no, you don't.
No.
Right. If y'all are really supporting the cause, then y'all bear 3 days without basketball to support the cause.
3 days, dude. Like, oh my god, and they're tired of seeing
how we're sources of entertainment to them.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that for some people, that's all we are. That's all we contribute to society. Like they just love us when we're on the movie screens or when we make their music, but they don't care about the actual struggle. Mm-hmm. They won't actually support us when we need it. We need the support. And even if they do give us support, it's usually performative. Like they just tell us, like even for the NBA, MLB, NFL, like they'll put Black Lives Matter on the field or the court or whatever, but like they won't actually make an effort to make differences in the Black community. They'll just say like, "Oh, we support y'all, but we're not going to donate any money or anything. We support y'all though." Like
especially the NFL, man, because I think they know they got too many fans that too many fans that were at the Capitol building. So they can't do too much, otherwise they'll lose a little business. I think the NBA is by far the best sport because, well, one, they're like, actually, well, NFL is very Black too, but NBA is like 80 something percent black, and the player, I think actually no, here's what it is, because the players in the NBA have a lot more power, and so you get a lot more of there was like the message on the back of the jerseys, and then there's a lot of different foundations and stuff, whether, I mean, I think LeBron is especially, he's a leader in that sense. So the NBA does a lot more, I think, towards trying to support Black Lives Matter. MLB, we're a little behind, I'm gonna lie. We're a little behind. And there's not a whole lot of black players in the MLB also, but they have some stuff that they do, but yeah. I wanted to talk about just in general people using their platforms, because I mean, I have a couple hundred followers on Instagram, right? So I can post something on my story, and some couple hundred people see it, which is cool. But I think it's interesting that you don't really see these big TikTokers or whatever doing much at all. I mean, there's not very many big black TikTokers, but they'll say something, obviously. But I mean, it's like I'll change my profile picture. I'll say Black Lives Matter in one TikTok or something like that. But it's kind of like it's. I think it's pretty clear to me that a lot of those people they're way more worried about their money than they are about trying to have a good message on their page. So
even then, just with so many different celebrities, like when they posted for Blackout Tuesday and posted about Black Lives Matter in general, those posts get, like the big celebrities, I can't think of any in particular, but there's one celebrity who gets like 1 million likes on average, and that post got like 500,000 likes or something. And it's like they sacrifice, so they put those posts up, people don't like them as much, and then that encourages them to not post them as much because they need those likes, and they don't need anything really, but they want those likes and they want that income coming in from those things and that popularity. But yeah, those posts I've seen tend to get less popularity in general on those accounts.
Yeah, and even if it's less popular, like you can't just you can keep your normal whatever posting filter you have to do, but just you can't add another post just to tell people to go vote or something like that. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous.
And I feel like they know they have to post it in order to because I feel like it was trendy to support Black Lives Matter. They know they have to post it, but they won't keep that up. Or even if they do post it, they'll just delete it after. So they're just doing it because they know it'll affect their money if they don't. So
yeah, that's true. It's all about keeping. I think it's all about trying to stay in the middle, like do enough so that you won't get canceled by black people, but not do too much. So yeah, it's very weird to me.
Using us at their expense yet again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And look, one of the wild things also is that like one of the only social media people that I've seen do like multiple things that are at least social justice related is like you know Sienna Mae Gomez. She's like 16.
Yeah.
And she'll periodically post some stuff about like voting or whatever. Like but she did like a few different things, telling people to go register to vote or whatever it was, and kind of making her views a little bit more clear and supporting some sort of a cause. And it's like it's kind of wild to me that one 16-year-old is like the only big TikToker that ever says anything, and the rest of them are kind of just like, I'll make my profile picture a Black Lives Matter fist for a month, and then that's my contribution.
Charli D'Amelio, yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. And it's just such a vast minority. People like Sienna Mae Gomez who actually post more about those things. So
because other than that, it's just the political TikTokers or whatever that are saying stuff. Other than the big ones, they never have much to say. Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, is there anything else we want to go over? We actually covered a lot, and that went by pretty fast. I feel like has it been almost an hour? I think it has.
So
like that went by pretty fast. But is there anything else we want to cover real quick before we wrap it up?
The one thing I was going to say was just, I heard talking about how our conversation strayed so quickly. I think it's just a good point to note that that's because like these issues are present in every aspect of our lives, as students, as little kids watching Disney movies and getting dolls and action figures, as people using TikTok and Instagram, in the classroom, again, as students. Like it's every single part. It's such a huge part of our identity. And so just noting, that's why like the conversation strays so easily, because there's so much to say and it's a part of every aspect of who we are, really, I think. And so I think that just should be noted.
That's a great point. It never goes away for us. Like we have to, like we're thinking about it all the time, especially you know, when we actually, you know, when it's not COVID and we actually go places, like when we're at school, like it's constantly in my mind. Like I have to, I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, I don't know because I'm not you, but I feel like a lot of people don't have to think about their race
Right.
as much as we do. Like it's in my mind constantly when I,
Yeah.
like when I watch TV, when I'm watching sports, listening to music, anything. So
Yeah. I mean that's what white privilege is. I think it's that it's never going to be something that gets in your way. And I mean, I'm saying we got to think about when we walk down the street, like especially like
literally,
I walk my dog a lot of times, and sometimes I do everything late, so sometimes I'm doing it late at night, right? I'm always like, can I wear a hood? Like, I don't know if that's a good idea. You know, I gotta keep my music low enough just in case someone says something to me. Don't want to look suspicious. Like, I don't know. It's kind of wild. Yeah, just it's always in your mind, always in your mind. So
right. And that is not an exaggeration. Like, oh, go ahead.
There's precautions that you learn to take. Like you don't drive through nicer neighborhoods or just in general with your music up, and you don't wear your hood at night, and you don't, if you are fortunate to have like a nicer car, you don't drive through like a not as nice neighborhood, or you know, like you'll be aware if a police officer passes you that you're probably going to get pulled over and questioned about it. And when you do get pulled over, you know, there's lessons. I don't know, like y'all probably had the talk with your parents when you were little,
I like nine.
about what to do, which I'm sure a lot of other people don't even think about. It's just like, just to live, there's things that you have to know to do to get by.
Yeah.
No exaggeration. I literally never wear a hood when I'm outside. Like I've worn my hood, like a hoodie, for like the most I ever have what during quarantine inside the house during school because I didn't want to do my hair. Like I never wear my hood outside ever because I just know like that looks sketchy. Black person wearing a hood equals trouble. And even when I'm out with my friends, it doesn't matter if like, well, it does matter, but like even when I'm with my white friends, I make sure when I'm out, I never don't act up, don't be loud, don't play loud music in the car, none of that. None of it.
Yeah.
I tell you, every time I wear a hoodie, like I do wear my hood sometimes because it's cold. Like but I always make sure to like put it to here so you can see my entire face. Like you can't cover everything. Yeah.
Also,
It's
you
a lot
should
of
need a reason to justify wearing a hoodie. Like even if it wasn't cold, if you want to wear a hoodie, you should be able to wear a hoodie. But
right.
Yeah. And I think like I know that we're trying to wrap it up here, but like all this stuff is connected. And I think what you were talking about with going to school, I'll tell you for me, like it's almost like going to Head-Royce, it's like there's a lot of pressure that you gotta act right, and you know it's because you feel like you're holding a reputation, like representing all Black people, and I feel like that, especially because the classes aren't always balanced. So sometimes you get a class where you're the only Black kid, or maybe there's one other Black kid, and you feel like, oh, if you don't put enough effort into this class, or if you don't come off as a smart kid, then you're gonna like I guess the people are going to think of Black people in a worse light, or think that, oh, he's only here because they needed to fill a quota or whatever it is, or he's not really that smart. And I feel like you're always trying to, you know, at least for me, I feel like I'm always trying to prove that I am smart enough to be here, whatever it is, or that I deserve to be here. And yeah, it's, I don't know.
you have to
But it's just, it's a lot.
twice as hard to be seen the same, and I don't think that's an exaggeration at all. And I think people watching this maybe won't really understand that coming from the Head-Royce community, but that's just the cold hard truth for us. I think that also needs to be said.
That's a fact. I mean, I've thought about it before. Like, am I just here because I'm Black and they needed more Black people? Like, I've thought about that before because it's you know, it's what we're taught to think, that we're not enough, but we're just here because Head-Royce needs more Black people.
Right.
They love talking about that in the college process too. Like, oh no, it's gonna be easy for you. You're Black, you'll get in there. Like, okay.
Yeah, so many little comments, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes you got to pick and fight your battles too, like which ones you're gonna take. But there's so many, like the culture of college applications at schools like Head-Royce, it's very toxic, I think, for Black students. And the hard work that we put in is very undermined, and we're seen as getting a sort of pass because of the way we look. It's like, actually, that's just not true. And I'm working just as hard as you, if not harder. So,
And I think it's because of the competitiveness, especially, and you know, it's It's all about what prestigious school can you get into, and that's a big thing. It means a lot to people. So then any excuse they can come up with why that person got into a school,
Right.
that's there.
And that goes back to the notion that we are not smart enough to get in without some sort of justification, without them needing to fill a spot, without us playing a good sport or being talented with an instrument or something. It's like, no, I can just be academic enough and well-rounded enough to get into an Ivy League. And you don't need to find a reason. Why do you feel the need to find a reason to justify my being accepted?
Facts. I've absolutely gotten you're good. Affirmative action, with affirmative action, you're good. You're chilling. You're in. Because just because of affirmative action, not because I'm smart or anything, not because of other things to bring to the table, but because like with affirmative action, I'll be all right and I'll get in because that's just how it works.
Yeah. And I haven't done the research myself, I'll admit, but I have seen at least that affirmative action affects like white women more than anyone else. So it's like, not only are people saying that, but it's like, it's not even true. Like, it's not, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of uneducated statements too.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, the whole point of affirmative action is to like rebalance the scales of like a lot of Black people were denied the opportunity to get certain jobs in certain positions and get into certain colleges when we were being like, when it was like Jim Crow and stuff like that. Like when Black people were smarter, they still didn't get the jobs. And now, like, because, you know, white people actually see us as people, they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you all a couple more spots because they were taken away from you. But even then, like Chris said, it actually affects white women more than it helps us. Like,
yeah. And yeah, if you still aren't convinced, sorry, think about it this way, right? So even if I got into school over you because I'm Black, then by the time we're competing for the same job, I'll have the boost of going to the better school, and you'll have the boost of being white, and boom, we're back on the even playing field. It's like it's really like you're gonna be fine.
That is a very good point. I never thought about it like that. Like,
yeah,
just being white is like, yeah.
There's just a bitterness that exists when we succeed, and it's like, that doesn't need to be a threat to you. Why can't we all be equally qualified?
Right. Like, why can't we win too? Like, there's space for everyone. There's enough money in the world for everyone. Like, y'all be so salty when you see Black people win. Like, what is the problem here? Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now should we actually wrap it up now, or anything else? Because that was actually that was a great point. Great point to bring up. I'm glad we had that conversation. But anything else? I don't know. I think we covered everything that we had to cover. That was a great conversation. And yeah, thank you, Bryce, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it. Thank you for spitting some facts, you know, helping us educate, you know, spit some game. So
have an open conversation, the one I think needs to be had and heard. So thanks for having me. It was really fun.
Oh yeah, it definitely needs to be heard by a lot of people. So I'm glad we had this conversation. And yeah, just if you watched all the way here, thank you, because I know this was a long episode, but you know, let us know what you think about what we said in the comments below. And yeah, that's it. See y'all next week. Peace.